In Rankad, my co-founder, he had a very interesting expression about governance, his understanding of it. And his expression was, it's saving yourself from yourself. Now, why would you want to save yourself from yourself? In an entrepreneurial environment, in a startup environment where taking certain kinds of risks and visionary leadership, high-speed change, adopt, testing the market, very agile behavior are fundamental to finding to developing and delivering on your winning proposition. Sometimes you need a bit of friction. And so governance in that context is like friction in physics, where the very force that is impeding you is also the force that is getting you to move. So sometimes you need a bit of friction. And it comes in different forms. For the typical startup, depending on what industry you're in, you might not start with formal governance structures and formal approval processes. And often you don't want those because you need to move quickly, try things quickly. In Silicon Valley, they have an expression, I've forgotten exactly how it goes, but it translates to do things fast, break things, but it's all about how quickly you learn from many experiments. Experiments and errors and mistakes are interchangeable. So one of the key ways in which for that early startup stage you have embedded governance is either by being in a partnership team or having people in the team who can hold you back, even though you are the essence of the carrying out the vision, especially in those early stages. And with us, there's a story that I recall that characterizes this. In the very early days, I think it was probably the second or third major software contract we'd won. It was a software development contract with a significant customer. And I think the customer had paid 50% of the contract price for us to get to a stage, and then we'd deliver the whole. And in the delivery process, I was working on the project at the time, and I identified an external software component that was going to be necessary to deliver the project, but it came at a price. And the price it came at was essentially 50% of the whole project price, but it was fundamental to deliver it. So I was getting ready to source that component, and my co-founder then said, Kofi, no, this is a bad idea. Now, the challenge was he didn't say this is a bad idea and then put forward an alternative. He didn't have an alternative. He was just insisting it was a bad idea. I think we argued for about 15 minutes, and I had my finger ready to push the button to make the purchase. But just because he applied friction, insisted, pushed, and because in our structure he had the ability, and it would be the same vice versa, in whatever little immature governance structure we had, one could slow down or stop the other, even though the other had all the authority to act. Just because he insisted, not because I agreed, I held back. So I held back, but I still needed to deliver on the project. But because he pushed back, I started searching for an alternative. And then I found that there was a version of the same component I needed. It wasn't fully refined. You would need some engineering layers applied to it, but it was available for free if you could apply your engineering to extend it. And so I went for that free version, and it became a critical component that we use in our business several years over the line. So it's sometimes there's not a lot of clarity around why governance is important. A lot of people think of the constraint. In this case, that's exactly what was happening. My co-founder was saying, stop, don't go, don't move, don't get this, right? And that the fact that it led me to come up with a better alternative, that was good not only for that instance, but for the business for many years going forward. You might not see the connection with governance immediately, but it's so important that is what governance ultimately achieves for an entity. It's where management, the team, is called on to focus around what's most important. make decisions that are consistent with the context of your business. Be responsible and accountable to all the stakeholders and all the expressions of stakeholders. What must be delivered to the customer, what your responsibilities are to your government stakeholders, what your responsibilities are to your team, and make sure that you are consistently managing and marrying those trade-offs. Governance is what places those demands on us, while sometimes we're in a hurry to deliver one thing or the other. And I'll have one more story on governance as well. This was a critical board meeting in about 2008, and we had been challenged by the board to meet certain critical targets, otherwise they were going to take some critical action. Now at this point, the company was about 6.5, 7 years old, and so we had now a formal board in place, a formal governance structure. And so we were presenting on a set of new projects which we thought were important to meeting those milestones. And in this board meeting, a couple board members just insisted and argued back to management that they felt we were spreading too thin, we were chasing too many opportunities, and we needed to focus more on what we had in hand and grow those. But because of our creative spirit, we enjoyed more going after new opportunities than just working on some of the things we had in hand. And so naturally, we were always chasing the next thing, rather than growing what we had in hand. But they brought this discipline without even looking closely at product, service, customer, or any detail. They just brought this as a governance discipline and challenged us. And we argued back in the meeting, and they kept insisting. And I like this expression of what you have in your hand. It reminds me of the stories of Moses when he's going to work on delivering the Israelites, what you have in your hand. I think it's also a very important parable and context. We yielded, we listened to them, and we went back to existing customers and existing products. And within 6 weeks, we multiplied the business sixfold. Again, this was governance input. The board didn't step in, they didn't come into the operations, they didn't look at the detail of which customer, which product, which service. What they brought was the discipline of you need to focus on what you have in hand, which in the MBA schools, they teach with clarity the product delivery quadrant, where existing product in an existing customer's hands has more opportunity nominally for scale than a new product with existing customer, than an existing product with a new customer, or the least being new product, new customer. If you're looking for where you can turn over opportunity fastest, it's where you've built the strongest track record. It's not that you don't go after other areas, but there are times when you need focus. And if we get back to strategy, focus is the essence of it, where you've identified what matters most and you put all your efforts, all your best thinking around that. So these are two very important lessons that brought me to understand what the power of governance is. And if I were to wrap that up with another biblical illustration, you will notice in the scriptures that Jesus would wake up early in the morning, go and pray to his heavenly Father. I see that as an alignment process. He was on earth, he had all the authority to act, but he'd go back in and check in. I have a mission, I'm checking in, here's how far, what next? And leaders who learn to build a system of accountability, of checking in, whether they are political leaders, business leaders, or otherwise, who have an accountability structure, somebody who can hold you to your goals and insist that your behaviors align with what it will take for you to focus and get there, they are the ones who win.